Alleviation is one of the larger missions that PUMC supports within the mission committee. And what that is providing food to people that have great needs. We're doing that today with collecting food to go to food pantries, and we support a variety of food pantries from St. Mark's here in Plainfield to Indianapolis Public School 34, for example, in the city that have great needs there. Beyond the food pantries, we also support by providing meals, and we do that with Lunch Bunch, that food is taken to young kids that are in our parks here in Plainfield that need a meal. We also do that through our last Saturday and second Saturday meals, where we provide meals here at the church. But we also take many meals out to shut-ins and to places like Sheltering Wings, where there's great need for good food and being nourished. I'm part of the Satisfying the Hunger outreach, and for nearly 15 years we've been taking food to the streets of Indianapolis. We've been feeding the homeless that we find in the camps and along the streets in Indianapolis. We started this outreach with about 35 meals, and tomorrow we're taking 85 meals. And this outreach has grown to include Plainfield. There is poverty in Plainfield, and we provide food to the trailer parks. We also provide food for kids that are more or less being cared for at the Plainfield Library while their parents are at work after school. So we're sharing the love of Christ in many ways through hunger alleviation by years. I have been a part of the mission committee for well over 15 years, and it opened up my eyes to the different things that our church is involved in. And I've always felt that there's something more that as a Christian that I should be doing to share the love of Christ with other people. I still believe that. I got involved with a Christ care group called Satisfying the Hunger, and we were looking for ways to share the love of Christ outside of the walls of PUMC. And eventually we found our way to take food down to the streets of Indianapolis. And that was in October of 2007. I went down with a former homeless man that was living in our community, and he showed me the ropes. We handed out around 35 meals at a camp of homeless people under the bridge called Davidson Street. We've been doing it every week since. Expanded our ministry to go beyond just the camps. We go out onto the streets where people are, and we find them and ask them if they're hungry. We don't ask them if they're homeless, and we share food with them. Many different people that contribute to our outreach. We have people that purchase food for us. We have people that show up on Mondays just after 1 o'clock and start preparing the food. Meals that we take are all made from scratch. We want to provide those that we feed with a warm meal that isn't just food. It's something that becomes special, and through this it kind of warms their heart. We have a lot of different people that come. We have people that ride with us too. On Monday nights, the first Monday of every month, the youth of our church in Bob Crush, they ride with us, and they get a first-hand experience in missions and in sharing the love of Jesus with those that have great needs. When you're handing out food, the food is addressing that very immediate need that someone has. When they are fed, they know at that moment they're cared for. They know that when we're out there, we're representing this church, which means we're representing Jesus. And way back, this was in March of 2009, I encountered a man named Ricky, who we called Curly because he had long curly hair. We had fed him several times and developed a rapport with him. And finally, he opened up to me and said that he had become a Christian on New Year's Eve day, and that he was ready to go home. And what he meant was he was ready to go to heaven. It's a God thing. I was just reading in Corinthians 12 about one body, and how everyone is part of that one body as Christians, and everyone has a purpose. And even those that seem very small have a purpose. And I shared with him that I have seen him serving God by how he cared for in a compassionate way for the other homeless people that were on the streets with him. And that was something that he could do at this point in time. Ricky became unhomeless, and in doing so, he became an advocate for the homeless, and he still is a Christian that goes out and cares for the homeless. I've been a Christian since I remember being baptized as a 4-year-old, and to fully understand Christianity, it's been a long journey. And so much of it was what you hear in the media about obey, obey, obey. And I was always trying to be good, but I felt that there was something more. And it was when one time I read Matthew 22, verses 36 through 40, where Jesus responded to the Pharisees in regard to the question of what is the greatest commandment. And he said, love your God. But he also added, love your neighbor, love your fellow man. And he said, if you do that, all the other laws will fall into place. When you're focused on obeying and trying not to sin, you're focused on yourself. But if you're focused on loving, then you're focused on the other person. And that was a huge shift for me spiritually, was grace is available to even these people on the streets that I feed. These people have addictions, these people have mental health issues, they're stinky, but God still loves them. And I can see that. And if I can see that he loves these people, then surely he loves me and any other person that I come in contact with. So when I get up every day, I look for opportunities all the time of how I can be considerate to the people around me, to be loving toward them. And through service, through the missions that we do here that I'm involved in, it's a learning experience every time I go out on the street of how much God is involved in